Hey, Justin, Chille. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing. I don't know what way, but I'm doing.
Well, I have to let you know up front that all my calls are recorded, so anything you say to me will be recorded, and I need to know if you want to be on the record or off the record.
Honestly, it don't really matter to me at this point. I just want Jake's story to be heard.
Okay, so then can you start from the beginning so that I understand the chronology of it, so it's clear to me?
Okay, so this happened a few years back. Jake was a cousin of mine. Honestly, he was more like a best friend.
Jake was a cousin? Jake is dead?
Yeah. Yeah, Jake was killed in the jail in Lawrence County.
Oh, my God. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry, man.
He was given a hot shot. I don't know if you're familiar with that term.
I've heard it, but remember, I've been arrested 20, 30 times, but I've never been incarcerated for longer than a week. I was in jail for a week at one time, my longest. So I've heard of a hot shot, but you got to refresh me. What is that? Oh, it's too much dope. Pure dope, right? It's
whenever someone, they purposely overdose you.
I remember drug movies. They would put out the pure stuff if the people were too bad, then they would kill a bunch of the people.
Right. Yeah, but what had happened here was.
Let's instead of starting there, can you start back to where Jake first gets arrested, where it first happens to him?
Well, first I should tell you, Jake ended up he was running with the wrong people for a little while, and there was a guy that he was running with that was selling dope, and he was well known for it. It's not like Jake didn't know what he was getting into, but another guy that's well known throughout this tri-state area, I guess he had gotten caught by the Lawrence County Sheriff's Department, and in order to get out of his trouble, they ended up setting up an operation to bust the guy that my cousin was running with, which they were just going to the bar, playing pool, just like normal people do around here. They just go out and hang out, but, not everybody runs around with someone that's selling dope, but anyhow, so they set him up. The guy...
Are you talking about meth? Are you talking about marijuana? Are you talking about heroin? What are you talking about specifically?
Specifically, that I know of was marijuana. Pam is married into my family.
Oh, well, Justin, you're not afraid of people hearing your voice and your name and people knowing it's you?
Man, I just really want Jake's story to be heard. He was a best friend of mine, and he would have done it for me.
Okay. So then what happens? So one guy gets popped, they set up the other guys, and then they do a sting and they arrest them, and your cousin's one of them. Is that correct?
Right. But here's where it gets fishy. They busted him with a bunch of drugs. To be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure on what that list was, but I do know that there was a massive amount. They kept him in the jail for maybe a week and then let him out, but kept their cell phones.
They steal people's property constantly. It's ubiquitous through all the different cases I'm hearing. They steal their license, their insurance, money, registration, phones, necklaces, jewelry, rings. They steal everything. Mm-hmm.
And, honestly, maybe I'm not the best one to give you all the details on this story, but I'll do my best. So that happens. Like I said, they had to fight. They fought about their cell phones trying to get their property back. That never happened. Wasn't a few weeks later, actually it was a few months later, they ended up getting Jake on something else. I can't remember what the charge was, but they brought him into jail.
Sure.
And the information that I know is this: Jake tried to call multiple people the day that he died. I guess before that, there was a guy that was living with him and his girlfriend at the time, and he was supposed to have been a friend. He wouldn't kick in, wouldn't pay on bills, wouldn't go get a job or anything. So Jake kicked him out. Well, the guy was upset with him and made a bunch of threats, but, you know, typically around here, whenever people get mad, they don't know how to control their emotions, so they just make threats anyway. Any way they can possibly try to put fear in you. And which I know that you've seen that up there by Buffalo Wild Wings. I mean, you've seen that. You called that guy's bluff, and look what happened there. Just a bunch of shit talking. So anyway, like I said, they get Jake a second time. They pull him into the jail. Jake tries to call everybody that he possibly can. He leaves his dad a voicemail just telling him that he loves him. And it was, you know, it was out of character for Jake to just randomly call and just be like, hey, I love you. Just wanted to tell you that. And next thing we know, Jake's dead. His dad knew something was up. He knew something was wrong. Come to find out, and we had talked to the family has talked to multiple inmates that was in there at the same time. The guy that he had trouble with before had, right after Jake had died, had started running his mouth around town, spreading rumors that he was the one that killed Jake, and that he snuck fentanyl, I believe it was, into the jail, and had the guy overdosing. And whenever that happened, though, we found out that one of the inmates had attempted CPR on Jake, and the guard at the time, I guess that's what you would call him, ended up telling the inmate to stop, and they let Jake sit there and die. They waited at least 15 minutes before they tried to call paramedics. Honestly, I've been trying to contact someone that knows all of the information. I tried to reach out to his dad, but his dad's just so tore up. He had a lawsuit against the county over it.
Well, who was sheriff at that time?
Lawless. It's
ubiquitous. So he calls everybody he can on the day he dies. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And
he called multiple people, said that he needed help, and he left voicemail saying that he needed help and that he loved everyone.
So he knows that the guards, he knows the guards are upset with him and that something's going down in there, and he's calling everybody he can to try to kind of give a last testament. Is what it sounds like to me.
Right.
And then he ends up getting a hot shot. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, sir.
So the inmate who ran around bragging saying that he killed him, what is he saying exactly?
He was saying that basically you don't fuck with him. He'll kill you. He has people in connections and all this and that, just everything he possibly could, just to try to talk himself up.
I'm going to need to talk to Jake's dad, okay? I'm going to need to talk to him. You're going to have to get him on the phone and tell him I need to talk to him.
I understand, but this is my problem, though, is that Bill is his dad. Bill is Jake's dad. Because Bill knows all the details. He hired multiple lawyers to get as much information as he could, but with Lawrence County, I mean, they were only going to release so much. He spent a ton of money, and the guy doesn't have that much money to be spending. And we had to set up a GoFundMe for Jake's funeral and everything, and it's been hell on him. And he ended up moving.
There's no transparency. There's no cameras. There's no video. There's nothing. Is that right?
Right. Absolutely.
Right. Of course, because cameras, well, then you can actually find out what happened to this young man. But if there's no camera, you're never going to find out what happened to this young man. And so now when they interview the prison guards, you hire a private detective. How far does that go?
As far as I know, this was 2020, I believe. It lasted for a few months. They had a lawsuit that was going to go against them. As far as I knew, there was going to be an even bigger investigation, and then it all just stopped. It's like Bill run out of money, or he got threatened, or something of that of that line. And
that's it. Because once you stop paying the blood-sucking lawyer who has as much education as I do, then if you're not paying me, well, then, your kid's life doesn't matter anymore.
Exactly.
I pay my bills, and I've overextended myself because I went to law school just so I would be in the top 1%. I didn't go to law school because I actually give a damn about anybody else. I did this for me. Got it. It's clear. Okay. And so now, how long has Jake been dead for?
That was back in 2020.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's been hell on Bill. Bill, he ended up moving away. He's in, where is it? I can't remember. Myrtle Beach. That's where he's at now.
So a drug dealer, a guy inside the pen, is the one who you guys think killed him? It wasn't a sheriff, or it wasn't one of the guy who's bragging about killing him is
No, nobody, as far as I know, no one's seen him get slit the dose, but the inmates that were in there had spoken with the family and said that yes, they know that it was a certain character that was inside of the jail, and that he was never searched whenever he was brought in. So it's almost like they knew what was going on. And
oh yeah, everybody knows what's going on, except for you. You're the only one who doesn't. You're the only one who has to do the nightmare of not knowing. It's all fine and dandy, but you don't get to know.
Right.
All right.
And Bill won't. My big problem is that Bill won't talk about it because it still brings up trauma for him.
Of course it does.
I spoke to my aunt this morning about it because I knew that I'd be in contact with you, and I really wanted to get someone that had all of the details to be able to speak with you about it.
I'd like to speak with her. Can you get her on the line? I mean, who else can I talk to that's going to have information? I'd like to speak to the kid who you said ran around saying that he killed someone else. I'd like to talk to him. I'll call him on the phone. I'm not afraid. I'll have a conversation. You want to talk? Let's talk.
Let me give her a call because, man, honestly, there's a lot of them that's scared to talk because of the corruption.
It's my favorite word, ubiquitous, because it's everywhere. It's continual. It's epidemic. It's everywhere. Okay, listen, I gotta go. I got another 10 people to call, so I do appreciate your time, and I just, so you know, your story brought me to tears. I sat here with tears streaming down my face while you're telling me the story. So, you know.
If you don't care, Chille, just keep his name in your mind. His name was Jacob Cochran, and he was an amazing guy. Unfortunately,
my brother, there's so many names in my mind. So Jacob Cochran. That's another one I'll pock in there, and I'll look into it. All right.
I appreciate it. Like I said, I'll get a hold of someone, and I'll definitely be reaching out to you. Is it okay to text you?
Yeah, that's the best way because I'll call you back.
Okay. All right. I'll let you know as soon as I figure something out, okay?
Okay. Talk soon. Later, brother.
All right.
Bye-bye. Hello, is this Bill?
Yes, it's me. I'm sorry. Yes, I had my hands in dishwater. I'm sorry.
That's okay, Bill. My name is ChilleDeCastro. I have a YouTube channel called Delete Laws.
I've been watching your videos. I didn't move away. I left. I still have a house up there and all that, but I can't do the last memories anymore. Everywhere I go, I see my son, and I can't do it. I couldn't do it anymore, and I happened to come here to visit a friend, and I never left. And October 12th, it'll be 2 years.
Who lives in your house?
My dad and his wife.
And so, now I got to tell you, Bill, you know, all my phone calls are recorded, and I need to know if you want to be on the record or off the record.
No, on the record's fine. I think every one of those little fucktard screwballs need to get what they deserve.
So let's go back. How long had you lived in Ironton?
My entire life.
You went to Ironton High School?
No, I went to Rock Hill, which is
I know where it is.
Okay.
I know where it is. 10, 15 minutes. So
yeah.
So now, tell me about what happens here. How old? What's your son's name?
Jacob Cochran. He was 26.
He was 26, so he was just a kid, man. And he goes to the Lawrence County Jail. Why is he arrested?
He was in the Star Justice program out in Scioto County, and he and a counselor guy didn't get along, so they sent him back to the jail to finish out whatever obligation the judge had given him with Star. And
so it's the drugs. It's drugs.
Yes. He only had like a few days left to go, a few weeks.
So, but either way, though, instead of helping your son with giving him his drug problem or helping him learn a new skill so he doesn't have to deal with drugs, then what happens is they put him in a cage instead and treat him like an animal. Bill, I need you to answer my questions, okay? It's really important that I can tell your story properly, okay? I can't have you jump around. So let me just walk you through it, okay? I do this a lot, remember? So let me help you. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I know you have a lot to say, but you're emotional, and I want to make sure we get your son's story told properly. It means a lot, right, that his story is told. So now, he is arrested for drugs. And has he stomped anybody's head in?
No.
Has he beat up his girlfriend?
No.
Okay. Has he kidnapped any children?
No.
Has he threatened anybody to shoot them or kill them?
No.
Okay. So he's not a violent person. He's just doing drugs or dealing drugs or something to do with the drug business. Okay. And then he gets arrested. He goes to a halfway program, and then him and the counselor don't get along, and they throw him in the Lawrence County dungeon. Okay.
Yes.
And so now he's served how much time in jail at this point?
He had been there a few months.
Okay. And so obviously he's a bright light because the guards don't like him.
Pretty much. They used to chase him through Ironton, and they couldn't catch him on foot because he was faster than all of them, and it pissed a few of them off. Some guy named Joe that used to work there, I don't know why, I think he works in the South Point Police Department now, but Joe used to chase him around and harass him all the time, come up to the door and try to force his way.
Who's Joe?
He was a police officer with the Lawrence County Jail, or with the Ironton Police, and I think he's now been transferred to South Point from what I understand. I don't know how true that is. I don't live up there.
What's Joe's last name?
I couldn't tell you, sir. I didn't get involved with Joe. I just knew he was an asshole.
Okay, so Joe's an asshole. And so now
he would try to force his way into their house when Jacob wasn't home to see if he was in the house. And I've had to walk up before and go, I think she told you he's not there, officer. And both of them looked down the stairs at me and turned around and walked out and went, who are you? And I went, I'm her father-in-law. And I think she told you while I was standing here listening that he's not up there. He goes, well, where is he? And I went, not my concern.
Why are they always looking for him? Targeting him, harassing him?
Yeah, just harassing him all the time. It was him and Joe, that Joe guy didn't get along. I know Joe would get out of his car and chase Jacob on foot and couldn't catch him, and it would eat him up. And every time he came in, the car that was parked out front, it didn't run, but he was in the process of fixing it. Joe came in and had it towed because he'd just be a dick. I went and had his I forget what was it, Cadillac CTS
Escalade.
towed. No, his CTS
car. That's a nice car. That's a nice car. I love those. Those are beautiful cars. We're still in jail, and somehow he gets. Now, was he dealing drugs or doing drugs?
He was doing drugs, and
he was doing drugs.
I found out after he had gotten arrested. I was in Florida that he had been arrested and what for. And
okay.
It went to hell after that.
What were the charges exactly?
I don't actually remember. I've got them written down on numerous tablets that are all packed away. And he was coming back through Hanging Rock, and Hanging Rock police pulled him over, and I don't remember what for. And the people in the car, they found drugs on, and Jacob had some kind of drug on him, or a probation violation or a failure to appear, one of those three things. And they took him to jail from there. They sentenced him to Star. He went to Star. The counselor, he had a problem. They took him back to Lawrence County, and then he died. Okay,
how did he die in jail?
He died from a lethal dose of fentanyl and meth.
Killed with a hot shot. The same thing. It's an overdose on purpose.
Jacob didn't do it on purpose.
No. I'm talking about it's forced to him, or it's given to him, or they give him. No. It's murder, dude. It's not. Jacob didn't kill himself, right?
I agree.
Yeah. So
Jacob loved life. In high school, he was the class clown. As an adult, he was the group cut up. He loved life. He would never have done this.
So now, who tells you that he's dead, and who finds the body? You know, lots of questions here. Is there any kind of real investigation?
Yeah, BCI did an investigation, and an attorney group contacted me and said that they had already had a settlement in this case. And I said, how can you settle without me or his mother's say so? I mean, who could have sued on his behalf other than his family? She said, I can't tell you that, sir, but it looks like Lawrence County has decided to refuse what we are awarded. And I went, awarded to who? And she said, I can't tell you that. And then she hangs up, and she calls me back a few weeks later and says they decided to take my case. And then she just quit talking to me. And I never heard another word from them. Every time I called them, nobody would answer. And an investigator from Ashland went and looked into the Lawrence County courthouse, friend of his, and they're all told they're not supposed to talk to me. So I called Brigham Anderson's office to see if I could get a copy of BCI's report. And several times, I never once got to talk to him out of 12 tries. But I did talk to his secretary numerous times. She's even cried with me on the phone. And then one day I called her to see and to tell her, did you give him the message again? I mean, this is 10 or 11 times now. She said, Mr. Cochran, I've been informed not to talk to you, and hung up on me. And I haven't heard a single word from any official from Ohio since.
Did you file any sort of
They told me whatever I needed to do, I needed to get an attorney, and they know I can't afford an attorney. I did a GoFundMe to try to get money to get an attorney for this, and I got $216. A girl with Gorilla Glue gets $25,000 because she purposely put glue in her fucking hair. The world's gone to hell in a handbasket.
Okay, so now what happens with Jacob? What happens with his body? What happens with his death? Do you find out who he did the drugs with, apparently, when he's overdosing? I mean, get the fuck out of here. It's such a bullshit story. I mean, it's just such murder. We know it's murder. So the Highway Patrol
arrested a black man. I can't remember his name, but I do have his picture on my phone and the article. And they didn't search him. They took him to the Lawrence County Jail. They didn't search him. They put him in the back of the jail with everybody else, and he distributed his drugs to the jail. Several of the inmates did it, but Jacob was the only one that died.
Wait a minute. You've heard testimony from dozens of people who have said that when they go to the dungeon, they got to strip down, they go through this whole process, turn around, squat, cough.
No, I have it on Facebook.
But he didn't get searched at all?
No, he didn't get searched at all. And Sue, the guard at the jail, the little short lady with the white hair, she gets on Facebook and publicly says, we can't search everybody, sir. I said, they make devices that can see inside the human body. She goes, those are a couple $100,000. Are you paying for it? She was real hateful the whole time, and we've got it all screenshotted. Every one of us do. There was an inmate doing CPR on Jacob, keeping him alive, and the guard walked up and went, get out of the cell, and pulled him out of the cell, shut the door and locked it, and left my son lay there to die. Stopped a man from doing life-saving CPR, and then stopped halfway to the door and shot a text.
Oh, no, they murdered him, dude. So the black guy goes in jail. We don't know his name, though? We don't have any information on him?
Yeah, I have it. I have all of it, all the information. No offense to you. No offense to you, but one being or another has come to me over the last almost 2 years and said that they could help. And really all they wanted to hear was my story. And I don't want to...
What are you talking about?
Investigators have come to me. They have called me out of the blue. Attorneys have called me out of the blue. One lady who called me out of the blue that was an investigator is dead now.
Oh, and Bill, listen to me. I'm not just here to help you. I'm here to change this system. I just started.
Oh, I agree. It needs a change.
I don't care if I put my residence here in Ohio and I become the governor of Ohio. I'm going to become the governor of a state. And I'm going to implement a new system. This is bullshit. Your story is just one of thousands of people who've been cheated. The reason the Justice Department isn't here because they can't go to every single town in America. This is every town in America. This is one of the most corrupt places that we've actually been able to catch because the people are so sick of it. But I didn't just come here to blow you and suck your dick and tell you how I'm going to help you. That's not why I came here. I came here to document exactly what's happening, to implement change. Jacob will be a martyr for a bigger cause. I don't know if we'll ever get justice for Jacob. I can't promise you a damn thing. So I do understand your bitterness. I don't understand what it's like to lose a boy. Sorry, dude. But I didn't come here just to help one person.
Publicly,
so I just want you to know that.
I put out publicly on Facebook from Florida that no one from Ohio has reached out to me about my son's death. Nobody has explained anything to me. Nobody has even said that they're fucking sorry. And Jeff Lawless called me 2 hours later. I guess they were monitoring my Facebook or something, because he called me 2 hours later at 7:30 in the morning and said, the reason I haven't contacted you is because I figured it was better if I just kept my nose out of it. I went, really? You think so? If it was your son, would you want me to keep my nose out of it? Why are you keeping your nose out of it, really? He said, sir, it's an election year. And I hung up on him.
Oh, I wish you recorded that phone call, but I got your audio. I'll post it. What a piece of shit. By the way, I've heard so many horror stories. Everybody has to strip down naked, turn around, squat, and cough, and show your butthole to a perfect stranger. Sometimes they got to cough 4 or 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. You turn around 3 or 4 times. While they're on their period, they can drip, as long as they cough hard enough for them to see the guts inside of their asshole. But the guy who goes in that has the drugs up his ass, or where he didn't have any drugs up his ass, they gave him the drugs, and then they don't search him, and then the prison guard in the chat says that we can't search everybody, sir. Sure seems like they do.
Yeah,
every testimony I've gotten.
They also let him out at 5 o'clock in the morning, just before my child died.
No way.
Yes, they did. He is now at large. They printed a story, not in the Ironton Tribune, but in the Herald-Dispatch, about the person that they think killed Jacob Cochran. And we found him in Columbus, but nobody will go arrest him.
He's working with the DEA. He's working with the Lawrence Sheriff's Department. He's working with them. They do this all the time to people all over the country. You're not alone. They do this to kids in Missouri, in Springfield, Missouri. I don't know if it's worse. It's just more wide open with the DEA using kids like Jacob as 25, 26 as drug mules to run their drugs, and then as soon as they play their purpose out, they kill them. And that happened to Jalen Goodwin. And it happened to Slay.
I used to live in Springfield.
Yeah, it happened to it happened to those 2 guys. It was I'm so sorry. I'm a little bit tired, so my brain's starting to fart a little bit. And it's hard to get stories out of people in the proper context, so you did a great job, though. Thanks for telling your story. I really appreciate it. I'm really sorry. May Jacob rest in peace and God rest his soul. I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry. But, I think who the fuck am I? I don't have any dead kids. Who am I to give you any advice? I'm sorry, dude. I wish I could do more. All I can do is expose this and put this online. And you want to send me any pictures of Jacob, I'll be happy to put them on the video to show what he looked like. Any pictures of him laughing and enjoying life and being happy. There's no reason to hide
that 3-year-old autistic son.
Well, the mom's now going to have to do it alone.
Who is now in foster care, by the way.
Oh, sad.
And they won't let me have him because I can't afford an attorney. The same thing that the police department and the prosecutor's office said, I can't have anything until I can get an attorney, and I can't afford an attorney. I don't have $10,000. I can't get $10,000. I don't know anybody that has $10,000.
Was that Child Protective Services who took the autistic boy?
Yes, they took him away from his mother because she's a drug addict. And instead of giving him to me like they did the first 2 times, they put him in foster care, and now he's 3.5 hours away with strangers that I'm not even allowed to know where he's at. Like I did something dirty or something wrong. That's
insane, dude. That's illegal.
I mean, I'm right here, and that baby loves me. Autistic kids pick who they like to be around, and that child picked me from birth.
That's funny because in every other case in the world almost, you go to the next of kin. You go to the next family member.
They've come to me twice and given it to me, but the last time I blew up on them because they were being ignorant. And I went, do I have to go get an attorney? Do I have to get this in court? Or are you going to do the right thing? Because they were really effing up. And now, because I threatened that back then, I can't have him now without an attorney.
Oh, you offended them?
Yes.
You are such a piece of shit. You don't belong with your grandchild because you offended some people who work for the state.
Yeah, who were doing everything illegal. And that was the reason I jumped on them.
But wait a minute. Bill, you just hate all cops is what it is, right? You're telling me this because you've always hated all cops? Is that true?
No, I've never hated police officers. In fact, my niece and nephew are both police officers in North Carolina.
Sorry to hear that. But and then the second part is you're just a recovering drug addict who's upset with the police. Is that right?
No, I'm not a drug addict either.
You're a felon who's hurt people. Is that true?
No.
Okay, I just want to be sure. Because a lot of people here back in the blue are saying that it's because you're the problem why you don't get your grandson. Is that true?
No, it's because I ran my mouth about the stuff illegal that they were doing.
So they took your grandkid for it.
Yeah. Now they've moved him 3.5 hours away. I found that much out so far, but I haven't been able to pull enough strings to find out exactly where he's at.
You should really come back when I've got to go to Dallas this week and come back. So I'll be gone for maybe a week or so. But then when I get back, you should come back here and we could do a fundraiser with you live on the spot, and we could raise that $10,000 and we could get you a lawyer and we could start the process of getting your grandkid, dude. That's what we could do. I have a big crowd. I just started here on TikTok. I was 300,000 on TikTok. I'm at 30,000 on YouTube in 2 months. Just wait. It's just going to grow. So I'm more than willing to have a fundraiser with you if I could just sit down next to you and show the people. Let's get Jacob's story up and show everybody, and then let's try to do a fundraiser for your grandkid and get you a lawyer and start the legal process, because CPS here is crooked and dirty.
Yes, they are, and they have been for decades.
Yeah, it sounds really bad. Well, Bill, thanks for your story. I do appreciate it. Is there anything you want to add before we hang up? Because this is going to go on, right on. I'm not going to edit this. I'm just going to put it straight up. Send me any pictures you have of Jacob or of your grandson. What's his name?
His name is Jakey.
Jakey.
Yeah, he's named after his daddy. His name is Jacob Ryan, and Jacob Daniel was my son, but I call him Jakey, and that's what he answers to.
That's so funny. I have a nephew named Baby Jake.
A lot of people call him Baby Jake.
Oh, so cute.
Just like his daddy.
If you're interested, I'm interested in helping you, and I'm interested in doing a fundraiser in person. That's what I'm interested in doing, and putting and starting to tell your story if you're interested. And that's what I can do.
I'm very interested.
Okay, so let's
let me know when
that.
you're back from Dallas, and I'll drive up.
Okay. Well, we'll talk soon then. Bill, thanks a lot. I appreciate your time. Oh, wait, one more thing. If you could say anything to the people, the guards who clearly set up your son, to the guy who got in jail without being strip searched, to the sheriff who said he shouldn't get involved, to the CPS who stole your grandson, to the judge, if you could say anything, what would you say?
What goes around comes around. And I hope you have to go through exactly what I had to go through. I hope you lay awake at night, and I hope you think all night long what happened to your child, because that's what I do every night. I lay there every night, and I cry, and I wonder what happened to him, because you people are liars, and you're corrupt, and that's all you'll ever be, and it's time for you to go. There. Now they know how I feel.
God bless you, dude. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.